Now, we've been talking a lot about the Budapest Major over the past couple of weeks, especially considering everything going on for it. If we want to look at the current capsules, there's not really too much that has changed inside this area. Obviously, we got a 75% off sale coming relatively soon, and therefore we're not going to be seeing any major movements until then. But one area that's been very interesting going on right now is going to be the Austin Major capsules. In fact, I would even say they're going as far as crashing. If you want to look at the majority of these prices, they are down very significantly, especially over the past month. Now, this is extremely interesting because every single one of these capsules is down at a rather significant amount. We're talking about a 20 to 25% drop all across the board over the past month, and it's just due to the slipping interest, I would say, inside of this area. Obviously, Austin had some pretty unique stickers, and that's really good when we're talking about a longevity of a capsule. But right now, we got Budapest in the spotlight, and it seems like this is the rather similar formula that a lot of major stickers are going to be following moving forward. Doesn't seem like they have a very easy long-term path to success, even though we saw Austin be relatively profitable in a short time period because of the way the capsule shot up in price. It doesn't seem like any major capsule moving forward is going to be able to sustain that crazy growth unless it has a super low supply, because people are just losing interest so quickly with these major capsules, and that's exactly what we're seeing here for Austin as the new competition rolls in. Skinland is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free $10 on your first trade using code MasterShiny, and the best part is you're going to be able to cash that out instantly with their brand new system. They've teamed up with Team Vitality to be the best in the game, offering you the lowest prices when you're coming to buy and the highest prices when you're using their instant cash out feature. They've got tons of different payout options when you're looking to sell, and their marketplace is filled with all of the best skins for all of the best prices. It's where I go to do all of my skins related items, and you should too, because they've got the best rates out there right now. Now, talking about a rare case market, because there's still so much going on inside this area, first up we have the glove case, which is approaching an all-time high of around $37, and it's actually consistently staying at this point. If we want to look at it, it's hit a couple times and now it's coming towards it. This is absolutely insane. If we want to look at the rest of the rare case market, things are definitely not slowing down there as well. Now, for the most part, we've seen a relatively return to a normal price for the majority of these older rare cases, your Gammas, your Spectrum 2s. The majority of these saw some crazy peaks and they have toned down, obviously still at a pretty significant profit compared to around a month ago of at least 25% for the majority of these. But if we want to look at the rest of this rare case market, things are going relatively strong all across the board. Our cheaper rare cases are still in a very solid position where we're seeing the majority of them at bare minimum staying relatively stagnant, which is always good. We don't want to decrease in price and stagnation as long as the unboxings keep on coming in. For me personally, is a relatively strong position to see moving forward, and that's exactly what we're looking at here. I'm really confident that the majority of these rare cases that have not seen any movement, especially on the cheaper rare side, have got a pretty strong 2026 coming up for them. As long as we consistently see these numbers, theoretically something has to change, and I think that's exactly what we're going to be seeing moving forward. I would say if this is an area you're trying to get into right now, could be a very opportune time because we're seeing some pretty massive fluctuations in price between a buy order and not. You can throw in a little bit of a low ball buy order and get a really good price on a lot of really good cases right now. It's not an opportunity I would specifically pass up. Now, we talked a little bit about it in the previous video, but right now I would definitely say Armory investments are very much on the table for me depending on what specifically you're trying to get into. Now, if we're talking about the collections, the Sport and Field or the Overpass, which are potentially the ones that are going to get removed in a very long-term situation, obviously they are not getting removed tomorrow. I personally like going for the light blues. I think that's where the most opportunity lies. Definitely not for me. I'm trying to get a ton of money into a red. They're just a little too expensive, and at the end of the day, they're probably going to appreciate if the overall collection does, but the light blues are something I've always stuck with. I usually go for the grays, but they're not available here. I think there is a great opportunity when it comes to these collections though. Otherwise, you got the Elemental Craft sticker collection, which is the only collection that I would say outside of the actual skins I would probably be looking at for an investment. These ones are very solid. They've just got a very heavy supply, being they have been out since the original Armory release, and that's kind of the situation we run into. Everything here, there's probably a pretty hefty supply no matter what. I would say the charms are just not an area of interest for me because I'm not a big fan of charms like that. When it comes to everything for the Armory, there's a lot of potential investments. I just think that you need to be very selective because not everything is going to be an instant winner unless we're talking about the growth of it getting removed. Another area I would definitely check out right now if you're really trying to make an investment is going to be into the agent market. I think there's a huge opportunity when it comes to agents depending on when you buy into them specifically, because obviously you're receiving the same commodity no matter what. There's no float values, there's no stickers. I mean, you can put a patch on it, but no one really cares, and therefore we're left in a situation where buying agents at a low price is really the only way to win when it comes to agent investing, obviously. With that being said, I actually don't know if agents are the most ideal investment right now, but if you're someone that's really dead set on getting into an agent as an investment, I think right now could be a decent time to look at it. The majority of them are down in the past 30 days, but we got to remember with agents, if we want to look over the past 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, they have been on a very significant significant increasing trajectory their whole lifespan, so they've definitely got an inflated price. Now, another area I would definitely keep your eyes on right now is going to be the active duty cases, and that's because these things are still dropping down at a rather significant rate. We talked about this around a week ago, and the prices have dropped even more since then. We're talking about our dreams and nightmares approaching down to that $1.50, $1.60 level, but if we want to look at the other active duty cases, that's where we can see this more significant drop. Our recoil, our revolution, and our kilowatt are all below 40 cents, and even this, you gotta remember, is one of the most expensive times in the entire lifespan of the game when it comes to active duty cases, and that's why it's very possible these prices can all drop much further. Not saying that they will, but it's very important to remember if you're trying to get into an investment like this. I think there is a very strong opportunity when it comes to active duty cases at a cheap enough price point, but I don't know if this is exactly that cheap enough price point. We're gonna have to wait and see, but I think there is definitely some potential here when we're talking about this in a super long-term situation. Now, when we're talking about active duty drops, there's one thing that I did not mention. That's going to be the Seal Genesis terminal, and obviously for good reason. When it comes to an investing point of view, there is zero profitability to be had with a Seal Genesis terminal investment, in my personal opinion. You can make some money somewhere along the line, I'm sure, but it's not going to happen from investing. This thing is definitely not what I want to look at for an investment, but we did have some new data that I wanted to throw in here, and it's very interesting. Obviously, Valve is still gravitating towards the Seal Genesis terminal as a whole. Remember, it used to be 40% of the drops. We don't know the exact numbers right now, as obviously they are a little bit hard to follow, but we want to look at it overall. The Seal Genesis terminal is not going away anytime soon. It's very possible that the next active duty drop that comes in is going to be another Genesis terminal or something along these lines, so you got to keep that in mind. Now, we're talking about a more general market. One area that's been very dominant over the past couple of months, and especially over the past year, is going to be all of these operation items. Now, we talk about this a lot when we're talking about Riptide items, and we're talking about Broken Fang, we're talking about Shattered Web when it comes to the collections, but even some of these lesser interested areas have definitely started to blow up a lot more than I really thought. Talking about your Mirage collection from 2021, these things are more expensive than I really expected it to be at a light blue and a blue level. Most of these items were just $1 or $2, and now we're looking at potentially $70 for some of these items. I will definitely say if we get another operation, the opportunities are going to be absolutely endless. However, for me, it's very important that you do not relate the Armory to an operation. It is not the same, and there's a lot more supply for everything in the Armory compared to anything from an operation, so keep that in mind moving forward. And the last thing, just going on in our gloves, knives, and Coverts market, things have definitely started to level out at this point. We're not seeing any drastic movements right now, which is a really good sign that things have started to reach their market medium. Now, that by no means that these prices are going to be staying the exact same for the very long term. This is just a very short term period where we're starting to see these kind of level off. I will say there is a possibility that obviously these fluctuations return. We see the movement come back. I don't think that these things are super stable long term, but right now at least we're not seeing any major price movements, which is a good thing. But that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.